Welcome to the Limelight podcast, where authors, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders step forward to share their ideas, stories, and strategies. I'm Clarissa Burt, inviting you into thoughtful dialogue, refined insight, and an esteemed way of living. Hey everybody, we are back in the limelight once again. You know that we love to talk about personal development and self-improvement and living your greater good and just kind of being nice people all the way around. You know, personal development is something that I continue to say is something that we need to be putting, very high in the hierarchy of our lives. And if you have to put it in your calendar, then do that too. You know, read another chapter of a good book that will help you do that. You know, my book has been in Barnes & Noble, The Self-Esteem Regime, for the last 5 years. And, you know, when I started to go back in the day, and it was a little section and it was called self-help. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you can walk into Barnes & Noble or go on to Amazon, find books anywhere. There's no excuse to not being a better person tomorrow than you are today. And that is why we have this lovely author that I was so excited to talk about. Listen, you're going to do 6 steps to fewer days that suck. Yes, you are. And we're going to be doing that with my next guest, Deborah Mallow. Welcome to the show, Deborah Mallow. I am so thrilled to talk to you today. Come beaming in from New York City. I'm jealous.
I'm thrilled to be here, Clarissa. Oh. You inspire me, and this is just a pleasure. So I'm looking forward to inspiring alongside you.
Let's just get right into inspiring people. Let's do that.
Okay.
Expiring people, inspiring people. Let me make that very clear.
Oh, did I say expiring? No, inspiring.
So you're saying, welcome to the bright side, how to live fewer days that suck in 6 easy steps. Can we go, and by the way, everybody just take a look at all the TV and all the things. I mean, you know, we're talking to a real expert when it comes to mindset, Deborah. So let's get into some of those 6 steps, if you don't mind. Let's get right into, you were in the city, you were on the subway, and life was kind of not great. And then, you know, you're kind of mulling over the things in life that weren't working. And then one day you said, I'm going to start thinking differently. You're next, you go.
And that's very true. So many of us just rush through life, checking boxes, chasing goals, and we don't stop and think about how we really feel, our well-being, taking care of ourselves, finding our joy. So there I was, a number 1 sales rep at an iconic brand, year after year. But this one day, I was going to be late to an office, and the tears came down my cheeks. I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted. And I said to myself, if I don't change something, nothing will ever change. And that was the pivotal moment that I stopped myself from beating myself up, not the 10 great things I did in a day, but for the one thing that it was fine, but it didn't meet my expectations. And so many of us, it's not just other people's judgment, Clarissa, it's our self-judgment. And what I've learned is, because I started to research the science behind why we do what we do.
Right.
And little things that we can do, not big monumental things, but little shifts we can make just to feel happier, just a little bit better.
Give me an example or two.
So I have morning routines, because in the morning, it's all the science. In the morning, nothing to do with us. It's just a natural response 30 to 45 minutes after we wake. There's the cortisol being the stress hormone, awakening response. And it's fine. It keeps us alert. That's a good thing. It wakes you up. But if you're tense, if you're stressed, it feels more intense. And that's when we get the nerves in our stomach and we just feel overwhelmed. So I try to just manage the stress. In other words, little things, smile, even a fake smile. It boosts the serotonin and the dopamine. You know, those happy hormones, those 4 happy hormones that do. Even step outside in the sunlight. It helps regulate your emotions, your well-being. Giving yourself a hug, just 20 seconds calms us down and it releases the oxytocin. So it's little things, even taking a walk if you can, if you have the time to do that, because that boosts the endorphins, those pain killing hormones. It just, all these little things that I love just really make a difference over time. And
Yeah.
distracting ourselves from the circular thinking, the negative thoughts that we can all go through, pausing, flipping the script, thinking, don't think negatively. It's easy to do, negativity bias,
Oh, yeah.
but if we think positively, we, instead of saying, oh, I'm so stupid, say, I love learning something new. Like me, I don't use the word failure.
Right.
I call it education and growth. Making mistakes is sometimes a blessing. How else do you learn? So it's giving yourself grace, being kind to yourself, not thinking it's selfish, thinking it's a benefit. Think about putting the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on anybody else, because how could you be kind to other people if you're not kind to yourself?
Yeah. You talk also about happiness being free, which I absolutely, yes, agree with. There are 4 secrets, you say, to pouring more joy into your day. How does one do that?
So here are, you can mix it up any which way, but it's taking time to be kind to yourself is the most important thing. Saying kind words to yourself in the morning and taking those words, if you want to call it an affirmation, but you have to act on it. You say, I'm going to bring the positive energy. You put it out into the universe. And that's one of the things you can do for yourself, just to set up your day and keep it going on a positive note. And I do want to mention, life is messy and nothing is ever perfect. That's why I say fewer days that suck, because some days just do.
Yeah.
People die, things happen. Of course, it's part of life, but it's how, the other thing is how you manage it. In other words, rather than reacting emotionally, pause and think about what you're going to say or do. And I say respond, don't react, because that's when the anger sets in. You set yourself up for it. That's another way to pour more joy onto your day. The other thing is, and they say this helps to live longer, is to surround yourself with a positive social network.
Yeah.
Enjoy and invite in people around you, create environment. And then there's also creating things that will give you positive anticipation, meaning that even if you plan a vacation that you never take, or you put something on your calendar, being meeting a friend, going to a movie, going to a show, even a picnic. It doesn't have to be expensive, but that positive anticipation, things you look forward to, also helps pour more joy onto
Yeah.
your day.
It's really important. The people that you choose to, how shall I say, allow into your inner circle, because look, we also get to be a certain age and we've been through it all, seen it all. And there's very little time to waste with people that are negative, naysayers, gossipers, bring everything of the energy down, right? So, choosing your friends wisely doesn't have to be many, but they, at least in my estimation, they don't
Well,
have
I agree with you 100%.
to be just really, those kind of people that just beat from the heart, that really want your greater good, because, as you say, you want your own greatest good. So I wholeheartedly agree with that. 4 tips to create a brighter day, 5 reframes for fewer days that sucks, because you say something about a glow up myth.
Yes, it's interesting, the glow up myth. We all, think about, the best way to describe it is social media and how people present themselves. It's not always the way they really are. And honestly, we can't compare ourselves. We can, but it doesn't serve you to compare yourself to other people, because what you're comparing to is a myth. Many times people show a certain side and then they get home or behind closed doors and they're totally different. So it's best to just be yourself, be kind to yourself, and put that out into the universe. It just serves us so much better. Just keep thinking. I like little sound bites. Keep thinking oxygen mask. What are you going to do to make yourself survive? Well, thrive. I should say thrive and not just survive. So we have to turn off the comparing and the jealousy, turn it into curiosity. Like in my book, I wrote little stories about people that I admire because we all struggle. If people tell you they're not struggling, it's not the truth because it's just human emotion. Life is difficult, but it's how we manage it and how we look for the joy along the way. Because joy isn't this euphoric thing. We tend to think, oh, it's like this. It's not. It's the moments. It's being present, Clarissa, in the moments. And if you're in your head or you're worrying about all these things that are never going to happen, you're not present in the moment to enjoy what life has to offer.
Guilty. I say guilty. I worry about things that probably are never going to happen. So guilty.
You know that Penn State study? Did you read about the Penn State study? So I love this because it's really true, and it puts things in perspective. Everything is perspective, right? How you look at it, how you reframe it. So 91% of the participants in that study said what they worried about. 91% what they worried about never happened. So if 91%, 9% of what they might worry about happened, if 91% never happened, what are we doing to ourselves? So many times we cause our own stress, our own overwhelm, we cause our own problems because we believe the stories in our head. We need to change those stories and make them more positive so that they serve us. Flip the script. Say those words to yourself.
Right.
Stop and reflect and flip the script. Ditch unhealthy habits. Put yourself.
There's a quote that I've heard, Deborah, and it goes something like this.
Yes.
Worrying is praying for what you do not want.
Yes.
Isn't that genius? I love that. It's not mine. I picked it up along the way, but I think there's no truer words. Think about it. When you worry, praying it's continual thought. It's continual intention. Well, so is worry.
It's so true.
Right, there you are. So stop, praying for what you don't want. How's that?
And did you hear the other one? Anxiety is imagination misplaced. Yeah. So it's really true, right? We let our imagination create the scenarios. And exactly what you said is so true. And once you focus on that and you understand it, once you're aware of what you're doing, that's the first step to making a change. And I always say, don't try to do a massive overhaul. It's small steps, little things, because here's the science. Our brains crave patterns. They love patterns. So once we make these little adjustments, over time, we create positive patterns that stick. And I say, don't discredit this strategy until you try it, because it really does work if you want to make the change. We all can, because we control our thoughts, our emotions, and our words, how we talk to ourselves and how we talk to others. And that's really the truth. So a lot of things we can't control other people or what they're going to do. We can suggest, but we can't control, but we can take care of how we react and act.
Right. So there are many things that we know, let's say, are on the proverbial to-do list. You've given us quite a few examples, but you say there are 4 hacks to crush that to-do list. That's the one I want to hear.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's really true when you think about procrastination, right? Because that's what we all tend to do. We put things off. There's a thing called Parkinson's law that you know about it, right? So you're given whatever assignment you have to do, right? And you're given 2 weeks to do it. And so many of us, rather than do it and get it done beforehand, we tend to stretch it till the exact like hour before it's due.
Yeah,
And what we do is we cause ourselves stress
that's
and
right. Yeah.
overwhelm.
Yep.
So the key to take care of it is to create clarity, what you need to do. I like to write it down myself. I like to write it down, and then I like to break things into smaller tasks in my to-do list, because what you do is you set yourself up right. When you finish a small task, part of a bigger project, let's say, that creates that dopamine rush, that you create a small win. And that small win creates confidence, it creates clarity, and it gives you the momentum to move forward and keep doing the what you need to do, rather than putting it off, because putting it off, as I mentioned, it just makes us overwhelmed and stressed. So it's better to, I like to go 1, 2, 3, 4, action, and start. I just don't think about, because I think if we think about it too much, what we need to do, that stops us also. Because I like to say this quote, the start is what stops most people. It's actually starting. Once you start, you get into a rhythm, you get into emotion, and you do it. And then reward yourself when you make that accomplishment. When you finish a task, you have to keep going on to the next. Give yourself a little break, do something nice for yourself, have a cup of tea, whatever it is that makes you feel good, do
Mhm.
that, and then just start again. It's good to stop in between, give your brain a reset
Right.
also. So it's all these things that will help us move forward and not create the overwhelm by procrastinating.
Right. Tell me a couple of things that we can do, because these, we all know what we're going through. These days are rather, I think they're stressful. And no wonder our cortisol is up for so many of us. And, this isn't our grandmother's United States anymore. It's not, let's just put it that way. And so there are stressors. Let's be honest. There are stressors all over the place. Life
Yes,
is, you know, um,
messy.
yeah, it's right. Great word. It is a little messy. So you talk about um protecting your peace,
Yes.
protecting your peace. You say there are 4 ways to do that. Just give us a couple, but I would love to hear what you have to say and how we can do that.
And it's really important to protect your mental health, your peace. And that's why so many times we're watching the news, we watch it incessantly. We
Mhm.
need to manage how much we let that into our daily lives,
That's
even Instagram, and I love it. I love the social media. I've met some really wonderful people,
good.
honestly, but
Yeah,
we need to control it and not let it control
there you go.
us, because it can become an addiction just to listen. And it's not, if it doesn't make you feel good, and you also need to do other things like get outside, exercise for your, which is really good for your mental and physical health, to exercise. So doing these kind of things, um, be, getting spending time with people that you enjoy being with, that also helps protect your mental energy. And also working towards being more positive. I know I mentioned that before, but it's so important to practice this and flip the script, and don't say something negative to yourself, say something positive, because it's all about protecting our energy, our peace, making us feel good, because then we're there for the people in our lives that matter. And we're
Mhm.
there for ourselves to
Yeah.
create accomplishments, to go after goals and things that we want to do. But if you don't feel at your best, it's very hard to actually sit yourself down and do the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
So I'm all about protecting our mental energy, protecting our peace. And I'd love to hear how you do it, Clarissa, because
I
I,
protect my peace by, here's what I do. I live alone.
yes,
I listen to chill music, lounge music. all the kinds of things that are really zen. I I light incense out back every day because I just love the aura of all of that. I diffuse essential oils in the home. I use essential oils for
Yes.
pretty much everything. I make my own skincare and a lot of my own cosmetics. I try to live a as non-toxic life as I possibly can be, and that's through looking good, feeling good, being good, and my greater good, and just learning how to just let things, again, this took many years to learn. I wasn't like that when I was 20. I can promise you that. I mean, I'm
Yes.
completely type A and I go a million miles a minute. So I've had to learn. And over the years, life will teach you. You slow down. And when they talk about, just smell the roses, gosh, it really does. It becomes true and almost automatically. You don't even see it coming. I think there was one day I woke up, I'll be 67 next month. And I
God
think
bless.
the day that I woke up and I went, you know what? I think I'm retired. I think I'm retired in the sense that, of course, we went through that whole COVID thing. And, I had the magazine we were on binge television. We had the podcast. I had a mastermind. There was so much going on. And then my mother was in a very bad car accident.
Mm.
And so my world sort of imploded as I was taking care. I mean, she broke her sternum and her ribs and she suffers from chronic COPD. So she had to sleep sitting up for 10 months. Well, I'm 2 miles down the road and her only caretaker. So of course, and I'm happy to do it. I'm glad to honor my parent. But I at that point knew there wasn't enough of me to go around and do it all. So I was okay with saying, wait a minute, let's take a few steps back. I'm not going to be able to get to it all. That's okay. Life's taking me in another direction. And what it did was, the business took a little bit of a hit. I'm back and bigger and better than ever. But it was really the strengthening of a relationship with my mother that I never really had.
Oh,
So you see what I mean? There's always a universe in the middle. And if you allow the universe or God
yes.
or whoever, all the Abraham, all the things, it's all good to me, whatever works. If you allow it to happen, knowing that, I call it, the divine or the universe, the creator, right, knows exactly. I do truly believe that they know exactly what they're doing.
Me too. I believe 100%. And I love what you do because music and
Yep.
essential oils and all that, it's just all so calming.
Yeah.
It brings a smile to your face. It makes you feel better. And that's what we all need to do for ourselves, is do things that are going to make us feel better, not worse. And that's why this circular thinking and the worrying and all the fear that we might have, we need to push through and see that we can. And that's why I believe building confidence, what you do by doing all of this is you build confidence, resilience. You see that you can do it. You reward yourself. You create
Yeah.
these positive habits that you can make it work. And yes, some days won't be great, but you can get through it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. While we were
Yes.
talking, I stuck my finger in the book. And I don't know what page is going to come up, but I hold
Oh,
on.
good. I can't wait. Yay.
94. And at the
What
top,
page?
94.
Oh.
And at the top, it says,
Yes.
now this is where I let the universe do the work. That's why I do that. So it says, believe in the power of your thoughts. They contribute to the end result. So there you go. Everybody, 6 steps to 6 steps to fewer days at talk. There you go, everybody. There's the book once more. And our lovely guest, Deborah Mallow, is the author. I'm going to ask you this one last question that you already know because you went and looked.
No, I listen. I'm a groupie. I can't help myself.
This the last
Clarissa
question that I ask all of my guests. And again, you can't say marriage, you can't say children, because we all know they always come top of the list. But up until now, what would you say in this lifetime has been your crowning moment?
It's actually accomplishing the different things that I accomplished, from the creative. I licensed my designs to then becoming a top sales rep and now an author and speaking and spreading my message of kindness into the world. And it's actually doing that to pay it forward, to help other people know that they can do it too, because I'm not special and I'm not different than anyone else. It's just that if you want to do something, you owe it to yourself to do it, so you live your life with no regrets. And that's how what I feel, at least at this point. I'm living my life with no regrets. And that to me is a blessing to do
Thank
that. I spend time like you do with your mother. I go and visit my mother. She lives in Florida. I make it a point to do the things that really matter. And I figured that out for myself. We all have to do it for ourselves, but it's so important because that's what makes you feel at peace, satisfied, and fulfilled.
No doubt. Deborah Mallow, once again, thank you so much for being here with us in the Limelight. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the In the Limelight podcast, intelligent media for the savvy entrepreneur. You'll find my video interviews on YouTube and clarissaburt.com, and the audio version of the interviews you can get wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to connect with me on social, pretty much anywhere, and do stay well until we meet again in the Limelight.